Okay, so now that you have your concept kind of pulled together, you're thinking about your materials and your um, like the idea of what you're going for. Now you can start thinking about what does that look like when it's a garment. So if now you're on part two of this, you did the visualization and the concept art. So now it's time to start thinking about your sketches. So what I'd like you to do is to start thinking about developing sketches, a minimum of 15 sketch ideas for one garment for this, or one look for this project. And I want you to base it on really going back, thinking about your black or white project and the experiments, as well as the rectangles and squares garment and your Mindscape concept itself. How can you start to think about how you bring these things together? It doesn't mean you do exactly what you did in the black or white project or rectangles and squares, but sort of, are there elements of that that you can develop further so it helps support um, this your whole idea? And you'll probably get one or two that come out really quickly. Like you'll have one idea and you go, oh yeah, that's really cool, and then you get stuck. And it's really easy to just say, okay, that's it, that's the only one I can think of. But that's where it really gets important, where you really start to think about what can I do different? How can I take that same idea? I'll change the scale, put it on a different part of the body, change the waistline to something totally different, change the shape of the shoulders. Maybe the thing happens on the front instead of the back. And also really thinking about your edges and borders. Like that's partly the things, thinking about doorways and handles. Like how does that relate to cuffs or edges or necklines, or where the garment goes in or out, or the edge from between, a connection between one seam and another. Thinking about what those edges are like and what that transition within that edge is. So again, you all had really cool things within your black or white project experiments, and some of that can relate really well to different things. Again, imagine shifting texture, imagine shifting placement or materials or scale from what you did in your experiments. And you should find some things that you can, again, develop what you've already started on this, especially given our current situation where you can't get to as many things as before. So you can use a croquis to develop your design ideas. Like if you want to do your sketches with that, an easy way to do it is get like a piece of sketch paper, like tracing paper, and put it over the croquis and then just draw all over it. And it's a really quick way to pop out a lot of ideas very quickly. You don't have to have really fancy sketches, just something that gives you an idea of where these are going. And keep in mind, again, the materials of what you're going to do. What's going to happen is after you do these, we're going to sit down and talk about them. We'll get to that in a second. Also, if you prefer, you can do your sketches in Illustrator if you feel more comfortable on. You can also use your dress form to make sketches. You can put the fabric on there, pin it around, take a picture of it, take it off, move it around, do it another way, much the same way as we did in the rectangles and squares project. And as long as you're taking photos along the way, that also counts as sketches. Is to generate ideas and do whatever it is that works best for you. So after you're done, the idea of these sketches is you're going to sit down and you're going to talk to me about it and tell me your plans. And when we look together at, like, here was my concept, here's my concept boards, here's my kind of experiments, I'm thinking about what I might want to do with those. You might find you need to make some new experiments, kind of like what you did for the black or white project, but then maybe expand that a little bit in a different way so it fits this particular project. So anyway, so upload your sketches, and if you have any new experiments, into the Google Drive, and then we'll sit down and talk about them together. And then that'll be your basis. Like that's your plan then for the next couple of weeks. You're just going to be working on creating that piece, everything from the mock-ups and muslins to the finished piece. So so the idea is to upload these sketches and your ideas into the Google Drive. If there's not already a Google slide that says sketches, Mindscape sketches, just go ahead and start one. We just need one per class, and you guys might get to there early. And so if there's not one there yet, just start a new one. I don't like to start them all at the beginning of the year, because then you're not going to know which one is for which. So if we just have one at a time there, that's great. Again, just start one if you don't see one. So anyway, upload your sketches into Google Drive. That's where we're putting anything that we want to discuss as a group. And you can use that in your virtual studio groups to discuss too, because I think getting feedback in this early stage when you're first thinking about it is a really good time to help develop the ideas before you get too far down the road. So then also, then after the discussion, both with me or with your fellow students, you can upload them into the Canvas assignment, and then that way I can find them for grading. So when things are in the discussion group, that's or in the Google Drive, that means you're, they still might shift and change them a little bit. When they're all done, then turn it into Canvas, and that's what I'll grade from there. So anyway, have fun. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to do.